Hi, I'm Pat, member of the Node. Have like 2 years carpentry experience classes, and I've just found out about microspaces maybe about a year ago, and found the Node, and I decided to build an arcade cabinet. Um, it is running on a Raspberry Pi, running RetroPie operating system with emulation station running on top of that. Um, I built it myself, no like schematics or anything like that. I mean, there's other videos that gave me some insight, but I basically made the outline myself from what I know about arcade cabinets. And it's pretty simple. It's USB arcade controllers, and I can show you all of it really. So I wanted access for things, so like I got this. It's got a 3.0 USB jack to the exterior of the device with the audio jack if you want to play and not disturb people. Then I have access above to like access the internals, but also below. I'll show you both. So if we unlock it. And this is still a work in progress. There are still things I want to do. I believe I locked it. So this opens this way, and this is storage. So I keep the keyboard. This is for like maintenance or maybe keyboard games and things like that. And then you have a exterior power cable which I can also store in here when I lock it. Then you can pull this up and access the internals, which from up here it's really a taken apart TV. And then it's all plugged into a power outlet at the bottom. The TV controls are up here in case I do need to change stuff around. And then we can go to the bottom of the cabinet. If I lock this back up, I'll unplug it. And if I just tilt it back. So I just ran the TV speakers into the top and cut holes out for it. I got some little rubber feet, and the point of this is so it's portable. Kind of portable. You still have to carry it around. But this is the main internals. This is a USB controller board, and all the players controls for player 1 are plugged into one USB port. Player 2 is a separate controller, so they both work independently. Everything's run into like a regular standard house plug, and it pushes to the back of it. The Raspberry Pi 3 is what's controlling it all, and it's really simple to set up. The longest part was the woodwork, and yeah, so that's how the internals work. I can show you the software running, and that will take a few seconds to start up. That's fine. Just tilt it forward. Pretty. For arcade cabinet, I feel like it's pretty portable. It's personal project. It's not like I'm selling it or anything. I got the this is T-molding, finding the edge. It's pretty cheap stuff, but it looks really nice. And the top of this is, so when I plug it in, it automatically boots up. There is a power switch on the back if I would like it to be turned off and plugged in, but just for convenience sake, most of the time I'm plugging it in to play. So it's going to boot up, and this is just a standard loading screen. And while it's loading, so since it is still a work in progress, eventually I'm going to put a light behind this board and some art vinyl, like some sort of design to be lit up from behind. Same thing with the button board and the side panels. The plan is to have artwork. It's not going to be black and chrome the whole time. This loading emulation station, and once that loads up, you can play pretty much any game.
How many are on there?
Probably at least 10,000. So, lots of options. Game videos for all the games that are on there. For most of the games that are on there. Variations of games, and it's 2 players, of course. The nice thing about the USB port on the front, since it's RetroPie and it's running, running RetroPie. And the USB port can allow for a 3rd or 4th player if you want to plug that in. The keyboard's always plugged in. It's wireless to those USB ports on the side of the Raspberry Pi 3. So really, currently, just with this setup, you can play with 3 players. But if you had an extra Xbox controller or any kind of controller, really, it's also got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built on to the Raspberry Pi. So the number of players is kind of unlimited. But just to have this alone sitting here, you really already have 2 players, and that's enough for me. And the option for more is always great too. So it does take a few minutes to load up. Yeah, it should be starting up in just a few seconds, and I'll be able to. I can show you what's on there.
Okay. And so now, is this your biggest interest, or were there other things you were thinking about as reasons for joining the makerspace?
I just like building and fixing and creating. So I didn't really have like I'm gonna come here but an arcade cabinet, but it was like, I basically came up with a list of things I wanted to make, and making an arcade cabinet seemed like an awesome option. You have something to show off. Who doesn't want to have an arcade cabinet in their house? And I haven't really looked too far into it, but I'm pretty sure buying your own arcade cabinet is going to be a lot more expensive than building your own. So, and this has way more options than you'll get with that. So, I also, with that list, like I have things like I want to build a baseball bat. It seems like a pretty simple project, but like with the tools available here, it's pretty awesome to have that availability. So I figured the one of the main reasons for joining, not just to be able to build stuff like this, but like the community here is great. So like having resources, being able to ask people about things like building apps and like the electrical components in the back, like wiring the power sources and things like that. I got some help with that just to make sure I was doing it right. You know, you don't want to mess around with power. But so we have all these different games on here. These are all the systems. And for like, I mean, you have stuff. I've never played these myself, but I have the option to now. And see, they have games I've never even heard of. And then you get like for example, there's at least 744 games here for just this system. For every system, they'll show you a different amount of games. The most I think there are for the Game Boy Advance, and there's 2,134 games just for this. So, and then for inside of the game systems, they'll show you gameplay of games you can play. So you can view, like if you don't know what you're about to play, it'll show you what you're about to play. There are options. If you hit this key, you can like configure everything. This is standard emulation station Raspberry RetroPie. So if you're into that, you're familiar with all this. Gathering the stuff is the hard part. You got to look around, find things. But you also have the option to find surprise me, which is it'll just load up a random game, and if you just want to play whatever, if you're not sure what you want to play, let it decide for you. So really, that's where I'm at with this. Again, I'm trying to put artwork on it and light the back. Besides that, it's pretty much done.
Right. And so, is there anything in making this or anything else you've worked at on the space that you are particularly proud that you've learned or done?
Oh, I'm definitely proud of this. This is, I think, the first project. Yeah, it was like the first whole project I've done here. It was like, there's something like I grasped most of the concepts of. So initially I was like, well, I want to be able to do something I can finish myself. And even when you're halfway through a project, you're like, oh, there's this one thing that I wish someone knew, and people do know it here. So like you have someone to ask, and just in general, having that kind of resource is awesome. But yeah, this project is the main project. There are little things that like I'll fix to the house. Maybe I want to make a shelf. There's scrap wood over there. I can just have that resource, you know? So really having the resources here, it's enabling all of this.
All right. So if somebody currently in school right now was looking to learn to do some of these things for themselves or are interested in any of the things that you're doing here, what would you recommend they start with? What kind of skills do they need? And where would they begin their journey to become more makerly?
Awesome. So what I would recommend is there's open hack night every Thursday. Before I even became a member and I heard about this place, I came here on Thursday night, and I came here for like a month straight before I even even if you don't. So the membership's only $50, and for makerspaces, that's, from what I understand, pretty cheap. I've done, or at least around here. And and there are other ways to become members. If you are a member, 24/7 access, things like that. But before I even got to that point, coming on Thursdays, being able to come in and just see what's going on, it gives you ideas. And even if you're not sure of what you want to make, but you want to make something, just come in on a Thursday night here and hang out, get some ideas from people. You don't have to come with any kind of skills. If you want to make stuff, you can get advice and start anywhere. I mean, it can even be down to drawing if that's what you want to do. Like, you don't have to do some crazy big project. You don't have to have any skills or anything. Just come in and want to do something.
Okay, so what is a maker? Who is and isn't a maker? And what do you have to do to be qualified as a maker?
I don't think there's any qualifications besides wanting to be a maker, because you have to make something. So if that's as simple as like a simple origami something, or like just drawing something, I guess you're a maker. If that's what you want to make, then make that. I don't think there is really requirements beyond that. And whoever's a maker is whoever pulled that trigger to make whatever you want to make. Don't sit back and be like, oh, that's a cool place, but I never know what to make there. Come in on a Thursday night, find out what everyone else is doing, or come in with your general idea of what you want to do, and you'll be getting good advice there. It's like, if it's a Thursday night, you can pretty much guarantee people are here. People who aren't members are here. People who are members are here. And we're all hanging out, working on stuff, or maybe just playing board games.
Alrighty. Thank you very much.
Cool.